Today we are going to do a sleeveless top and a mini skirt, and we're going to style them with top stitching and zippers. So here we're going to draw out our rectangular tool by selecting or a rectangle by selecting the rectangular tool. We're going to edit this rectangle with the edit pattern tool because we're going to be making just a quarter shaping a quarter of the pattern. Okay, so we select our edit curve or edit arc tool, and here we're going to curve one of the lines. So we're curving it, and if you're not satisfied, you can fine tune it by using the edit curve tool, where you can add some points and then shape it accordingly. So you've already seen this done in the previous lessons. So here I'm just going to shape it the way I think I like it. Now when you're finished, before we do any, well, we do the symmetric pattern of this quarter pattern. And what we're going to do is we're going to add some internal lines. And the reason being we need to top stitch near these internal lines. So I'm going to show you how we add them. So to add these internal lines, what we're going to do is we go to the edit pattern tool and we click on a line here and then right click. When the dialog box comes up, then you'll see add internal isoline. Okay, there you click on that, and there the dialog box for that comes up. And here there is equidistant, the number of lines you want added, the count 1, we only want 1, and the space from the line, the distance you want it added to the original line, okay? So it's like an offset. And of course, leave the other boxes checked, and then you click OK. So here you can change the distance where it's written space, and OK. I think that's good enough. So here we're adding this new thing about the isolines, offsetting the lines. Now we're going to copy and paste this pattern because we want a copy of this for the back pattern. So we draw a rectangular um, dotted line over there. We copy and we paste, and we're going to put this to the back. And then when it's already, you're satisfied, you segment sew. And then we simulate. Here the computer crashed a little, but then it did simulate. So here we have our skirt. Now I'm going to make the pattern a little wider. So simulate. Okay, that looks better. So now I'm going to move in the 2D window. I'm going to move the pattern pieces out of the way because I'd like to um, draft the pattern for the body stop. So I'm going to be using the rectangular tool again to draw out a rectangle, and I'm going to be shaping this rectangle because there are many ways to do this. You can draw it out, the rectangle, you can use the pen tool, you can even draw directly on the avatar. So I'm going to be using some points here to shape this rectangle. I'm going to delete that point. Remember, between 2 points, you delete and you get a line. So this is forms the front neckline. Here, for this point, I'm going to drag it down for the shoulder. And here, I'm going to add a point because for the armhole. Okay, so this is the armhole section at that level. I'm going to add a point. With the edit pattern tool here, I'm going to just drag it in a bit to shape it. And then this point here, I'm just going to drag that in a bit to make it more fitted. With the edit curve tool, I'm just going to curve the armhole section a little. And what we can do here is we can just begin adding some more internal lines. So we can add internal iso lines, exactly the way we did with the skirt. And the reason being always for the top stitching. So here we're going to right click, add internal iso line, and here again, the space, see how much space you needed from the line. You write in the value and you leave everything as is, default, okay, everything. And I'll explain more about what's in that dialog box in other lessons. Okay, so here we've created a one. Checking the line, we can always check it to see that it's extended to the pattern outlined. Here we can offset again. We can add internal isoline here. So we added this line and extended to the almost to the end here of the outline. But I'd like to modify it a bit. So I'm going to use the edit pattern tool, click on a point and just drag this up here on the sideline, the side seam that is. And then I'm going to curve this line a little better with the edit arc. I'm going to move it, drag it, and curve it better. Always check it and also to see that the line is really hitting the outline. The lines are just connected properly. from one point to the other. And when you're satisfied, here we can do the always the symmetric pattern with seam by selecting this pattern piece, right clicking, and when the dialog box comes up, we select that option. Now we want our back pattern. Copy and paste, or Control C, Control V for shortcut keys. Here, the cloth thickness, you notice that the back of the skirt is on the wrong side. So here, I'm going to select both pattern pieces, whether it be in the 2D window or 3D window, and right click. And in the dialog box that comes up, we're going to flip it orientationally 3D. And here it's flipped to the right side. Now we're just going to go ahead and segment sew this top. Here we can always check how it's fitted with the garment stress analysis. And it's fitting, everything seems to be fine. If it's too red, means it's tight, really tight. But it's fitting okay. We can click on the avatar, and in the property editor where you see skin offset, we can just raise the value, increase the value a little. And remember, the skin offset means that it's the space between the surface of the avatar and the garment. Sometimes they can collide. This is why you saw some holes in the garment. And here you simulate and you just fix the garment and everything should be fine. Now here for the back here, I'm going to edit it a bit. I'm going to just left click on these points, drag them up and simulate. So I'm going to be adding the central zipper. I'm going to go up to assets and find a zip, the zipper tool. So here now, if I try to add the zip, I'm going to run into problems. It's really will not be possible because remember, we sewed the front of the garment here, the center. So there you see, I try to add, but it's really not possible. So I have to go back to home, use the edit sewing tool. What you do is you click on the sewing relationship and you click on the other one, right click and you delete it. So now they deleted, you can simulate and you see it's now deleted. We can now add the zip. So we go back to asset, choose the zip, and here we're going to just left click, two clicks, okay? And we go again, left click, one, left click, and two clicks. And here in the 3D window, you see that the sewing relationship has developed. We simulate, and here our zip appears. Now we're going to use segment top stitch, okay? We click on segment top stitch, and as it says, the top stitch appears really near to segments, and that would be internal lines, edges. So here, when you in your object browser and you click on default top stitch in the property editor, you see all the properties you have to work with. We are going to be working with a few properties to get you started, the most important ones, that is, so you can style your garments appropriately. So here we can just practice adding top stitches, in whether it be in the 2D window or the 3D window. So if you look in the 3D window, you see I've already added a top stitch here. Here the edge, I'm just click on it, left click, and there it's going to be added, whether it be in one window or the other. Sometimes I prefer the 2D window because maybe I can see the lines better. It depends. Whatever works for you better. So here we've added top stitching again. And you just go along adding them to the edges. You can add them to curves and of course the internal lines. Here I'm going to just increase the skin offset again just to, okay, just to fix this blouse properly. Here in the object browser, right next to it, you see the top stitch icon. If you want to go back to it, it's right there. Now, if we look in our property editor, we'll see that there are different types of top stitches. Okay, so the top stitch library, if you click on that little arrow here, it brings up the top stitches. You can hover over them and preview them to your left. You see the different types. Here it's the stitch type, it's named, so you know the names of the stitch type. I like the embroidered stitch. You can adjust the stitch width here. So you put in your value to adjust it. Okay. Really, that's too big. Okay, when you put in your value, you can click anywhere in the 2D window and you see the stitch would be adjusted. Here, the offset, you can offset it to the edge or to the center where it goes towards the center, the stitch. So there again, you can offset it by you put in the values and it's offset from the line or edge you want it to be close to, okay? So practically it's like drawing a line from a line that you from the main one, okay? So you can offset by how many centimeters, okay? From that line to the embroidered stitch, it's how many millimeters or whatever. So it's practically that. So the offset, you can write in your values. Click on, if you lose it, you just, in the object browser, you click on it and it comes back. So there are many properties here. The length now of the stitch too is something you can change the value. So you can change the length of the stitch besides changing the width, also the length. So you can write in your value here and just play around with this. The space between stitches, there again, default it's 0. Here again, you can change. The color we can change, okay? And here we can, our color panel, it comes up and we choose a color for these stitches. I'm going to go towards orange. So there are many, many properties, but we'll get into them a little later. For now, if you want to really style your garments, you can just use these basic properties, okay? Like the dimensions, the color, the length, and the type, different types. And you could even import your own type of top stitch to use in your custom garment. Now, on the mini skirt here, we're going to do some styling with zippers, okay? So we're going to be putting a pair of zippers to style this mini skirt. Before we do that, we're just going to top stitch here. You see this internal line? We forgot to top stitch. Segment top stitch, and here we click and there it is. So we're going to just go along now at this point top stitching the lines that weren't lines and edges so that it looks better. Here I'm going in the 2D window. It's easier for me to, although for example, if there wasn't a symmetry, then it would be easier for me to do this middle section in the 2D window. But there is symmetry, so all you do is you have to click on a line. So I'm going to add a point here, here at the top here, and I'm going to add a point here though. I want to be more precise because I want to know the distance from the center to where the point was added. So I can also measure it with the edit pattern tool, okay? And so I go to my add point tool. Here I measure it for the edit pattern tool. And then I can go to my add point tool there, right click and put in the amount that I had measured on top because I want to be precise about this. So I write it in. Of course, you know how to do this if you've watched the other videos, okay? And with my pen tool, here I'm just double checking to see if that is 7.84. Okay, it's the same, 7.34. And I'm going to, with the pen tool, just draw a line from one point to the other. Double click, and here we have our internal line. Now this internal line, you can always double check to see if it was extended properly to the pattern outline, because what we're going to do now with this internal line is we're just going to cut it. So now we cut it, and we want to insert the zips. So there, the zip that's going to be inserted, it's going to be the regular default zip that was inserted in the center part of the bodice. So by now you know how to insert zips. And this is the default zipper. So it's going to be the same zipper. If you need different zippers, then you style different zippers, and then you save them. They're going to show up in the object browser. So I'll show you how to do that in later videos. Different zippers, they can be smaller, larger, but different types. But here it's going to be the same type of zipper. So now when we're finished with these zippers, inserting them, simulating, everything's in place, we're going to style it in a certain way. So what we want is we want the zipper to be shorter, the two zippers to be shorter, okay? So remember, for the length, to make it shorter, you need to click on the zipper, whether it be in the 2D window or the 3D window. Okay, we don't want to style it yet, but I just want to shorten it. So in the 2D window or the 3D window, click on the zipper itself that's on the pattern, and then the properties would come up. And when the properties come up, of course, you see the length, then you write in the value. Okay, here I'm gonna write in this 30. Okay, and for one, the first zipper and the second one. So okay, you have to do it for each zipper. And here we have them shortened. Here I'm gonna just put some top segment top stitch here on the neckline. Here I'm gonna put them here, the edges, just to make it look better. So here you see whether it be the 2D or the 3D window, you just go ahead and you work, whichever is better for you. So now we're gonna choose a fabric. And we're gonna choose this just black polyester fabric. It's a bit shiny. And we're gonna double click to add it to our object browser. When you double click, you see the dialog box comes up and you just click OK and it's added. Then we go out of that box. And here I'm going to apply it to the whole garment. So I'm going to draw that rectangular box over all the pattern pieces. Of course, our select move tool that has to be selected. I'm just gonna drag it and on one piece and it's applied to the whole all the patterns rather. So here you have just, to show you some contrast. You can add you do your various colors, it depends. So the only thing left to be done is we have to just style the zipper. We're just gonna put it in another color and we're gonna change the zipper pull. So we click on our zipper icon there to your right. And here we can start styling. So the zipper teeth, if we click on that, we're not going to change it, but we're just going to change the color. We're not going to change the type or the dimension or anything else, but just the color. And here we're going to try to have things match. So we're going to go for a type of orange again. Now we're going to go up and we're going to change the color of the zipper tape or the stripe. and always with orange, a little bit of contrast, so it's like a lighter color orange. And now the zipper pull and slider here, we're going to change to orange. But we're going to change the zipper pull. Okay, we're going to use another zipper pull so it looks much better. And here we have our garment. It's so with our zippers and top stitching. Thank you for watching. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you just a little animation of the garment. See you in the next video.